Welcome to Bonnie's Beat. I'm your host, Bonnie Squires. We're coming to you from Radnor Studio 21 in beautiful downtown Wayne. We like to expose to you people who are doing important things for the community, whether it's a charity, whether it's academia, whether it's politics, whether it's arts and culture. And today we have a special guy with us. Not just special because he was a classmate friend of mine from Lower Merion High School, but Buzz Miller is the owner of Buzzy's Bow Wow Meow. You've driven past it many times on Lancaster Avenue in Narberth, and he's doing a lot of good things for humankind. Hey, Buzzy, how you doing?
I'm doing super. One minor correction, the store's on Montgomery Avenue, not Lancaster.
Montgomery, why did I say Lancaster? I come out Lancaster Avenue
I know.
to get here to the studio. My brains are twisted today. Anyway, tell us how you got the, I have to tell people that you were a very successful real estate attorney in New York for umpteen years
New York and Philadelphia.
and made a lot of money
Made a good living.
and didn't even have time for marriage or a family at that point in your life, right?
Well, I got married in my 40s for the first time. And through some miracle, I guess, because she cares about animals,
Yes.
we've been together, married for about 20 years, been together for about 25 years.
Okay, Judy,
Right.
she's fabulous. She straightened him out. But
Tame me down.
he started a nonprofit called Pact for Animals, P-A-C-T. Now tell us what that's all about.
All right. PACT stands for People, Animals, Companions Together. That's the PACT. And everything we do through PACT not only attempts and usually does save the life of an animal, which most good rescues and shelters do throughout the country. The difference is we put the human element in everything we do. The major thing PACT is doing now is a long-term foster program. Nobody else in the country has a program like ours, the depth, the quality of the program. I started it about 4 years ago because I found out from all the shelters in the Delaware Valley, they were having young soldiers go to places like Afghanistan, and they'd leave their animals at the shelter, but when they left them, they'd sit on the floor, and some of these were guys, 260 pounds of solid muscle, and they'd be sitting on the floor crying their eyes out. And the shelter said when most people leave the animals here, they decide to get rid of them, maybe for sensible reasons like they were going in a nursing home and couldn't find anybody to take care of it, but more often than not, it was an inconvenience. The animal got older, it couldn't run, it needed more medical care. So a lot of them were people just didn't look at a companion animal, principally dogs and cats, as a lifetime commitment. It was there for the good times.
It hurts my heart when you even talk about somebody like that because my cats are like my children. Are you kidding?
Well, it's the same thing with us, but unfortunately, you talk to any shelter in the country, there are people that at the first sign of problems will dump the animal in the shelter or rescue.
Oh my God.
But the thing that really bothered me is I started thinking after I heard about this from multiple shelters in the Delaware Valley, you got a young guy or girl, and this was when Afghanistan was winding down with the actual shooting. I mean, there's still...
But it's winding up again, unfortunately.
Well, we know that, but
Oy
here was the problem. I'm sitting there picturing to myself, you got a 22-year-old, 25-year-old military person in the top physical shape because they're going over to a place like that, and they have to leave an animal they love in the shelter and never see it again, because the only way an animal gets out of a shelter or a rescue in this entire country is it's either adopted and they can't tell the original owner where it went because it's like children that are adopted at birth, or it's euthanized. And the euthanasia rate throughout the entire country is still 40–45%. It's come down, but it's still almost half the animals, dogs and cats. So here we are with a young person enlisted in the military, risking their life, and some of them were single, some were married, but especially the single ones. They had no one else living with them but this animal was their child, their life. And I've been rescuing animals for 30 years. I've dealt with tons of these young people. This is how they feel. So I created a program. It took me about a year to put the pieces together because there was no book, there was no mentor, there was no course, because nobody else in the country was attempting to solve this problem. And what we do is foster these animals in actual homes. A cat might go to Bonnie's home from a male or female going in maybe to fight ISIS today eventually, or go to the Middle East, or even go to Afghanistan, where plenty of them are still going for the applications we see. So we take that animal and we put it in an actual home like Bonnie's or mine. And with the military, it's sort of easy from this, because we've probably done a couple hundred military ones alone by now in 3 years. They will tell us when they're going to return. And I'd say 95% of the time, they return right within a couple days of when they're supposed to. Because in that sense, it's run like a business. So what we do is, and we started with 1 or 2 homes, and truthfully, I didn't know what I was doing 3 years ago because I had nowhere to learn. The first one we even did was a total nightmare. It was a young kid going in the Navy. It was a beautiful Siberian Husky. He was from,
they're gorgeous animals.
Yeah, he was from outside New York. And the first foster I had, her landlord told her, "You got too many animals, bring another one in, I'm going to evict you." The second foster I had was walking her dogs, fell, broke her collarbone. This is a Siberian Husky. Her own doctor said to her, "You can't take a dog like that and walk him because you have to heal, and it's going to be a couple months." So this kid's leaving 5 days, 4 days, 3 days. I just started it. I had no foster home. I networked like crazy, and I finally found a foster home at the last minute. And that was late in 2011. But it took me about a year to put it together, get the nonprofit form, do some research, draw up agreements, things like that. And
I
now,
know a good lawyer.
I'm glad you do. I know a few too, but afterwards,
Did you do all the legal work yourself?
believe it or not, I'll give them a plug. Bobby Toll's Public Interest Law Center. I had some of the kids there do some of the work for me on the agreements.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it was a nonprofit law center, so they didn't charge me.
Okay.
And I set up years ago, maybe 6, 8, 10 years ago, I worked in setting up the pro bono. Well, they have an animal law course, but they also had a pro bono program where they volunteered to do legal work for animal organizations. So I ran that for about a year and worked in building that up at the University of Pennsylvania Law School. But I called up the people at the school and say, "Hey, I'm doing all this myself. Do you have any kids in the animal law program that want to do some pro bono work?" So I actually, it's called the Toll Public Interest Center or something.
Oh,
So
that's
I actually
wonderful.
use some of those kids. Bobby and I know each other from law school. Goes back a long ways. But anyway, so we actually did our first placement in late 2011. Now we went from that to 36 in the next year, 50 some in the next year. Last year over 100. Our goal this year is 150 to 200. But I have to put some more twist into this. Every story is unbelievable. We've had ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox film the reunions on the stories. We've had the networks do about 8. We had Animal Planet just filmed 2 for us. They'll be released in the fall. We even had Brian Williams' group want to do something on us, but in between when it was scheduled to be done, I don't know the politics, but Brian was
He
no longer at
disappeared.
NBC,
Right,
disappeared.
right.
His staff that was working on this disappeared, so things happen. But anyway, CHOP called us about a year and a half ago and said, "We have a child here that's having major heart surgery." His mother left their little dog at ACT, which unfortunately it's the city shelter to a certain degree, and they get the biggest volume of cats and dogs in, and they do euthanize probably, unfortunately, because of underfunding and understaffed more than anybody else. So the little dog's there. The kid was in no mental shape to have major heart surgery. CHOP called me up and said, "Can you help us?" So I sat there and I said to myself, it's the same process we do for the military. So I called him back in 5 minutes, said, "Yeah, we'll do it." Fortunately, it was a little dog, like about 20 pounds. So I was actually able, because I knew everybody that ran the top people at ACT, I called them up, said, "Please put this dog somewhere else. We'll have it out there by tomorrow." I actually had one of our foster homes, they were in Westchester, come pick up the dog the next morning. It kept it. I called the hospital. I said, "Tell Brian and his mother the dog's safe and sound. However long he's in the hospital, that dog will remain in a good foster home." So then we started with CHOP. Now we're working with every children's hospital in the Delaware Valley, St. Christopher's, CHOP, DuPont, and we work with other kids that are in non-specific children's hospitals. We also work with every veterans hospital in the Delaware Valley, Wilmington, Coatesville, Philadelphia. We also even started working with homeless people and people going in shelters that refused to go in the shelter or to the hospital, especially veterans, because they were sleeping in their cars or on park benches because they would not give up their animals.
Oh.
If you go to our website, there's a story about.
Let's put it on the screen. What's your website? Here we
there it
go, www.pactforanimals.org.
Right, and if you go to the titles, you'll see something where it says videos. They're all great. I hate to, well, I shouldn't hate, I love to say it. But there's one about Anthony and Sheba, and we've got some stories that are unbelievable. I'll try and do this in about 3 minutes. Anthony was a veteran. He was in the first Gulf War. He had a lot of problems, including PTSD. The government didn't give him really any substantial benefits till, it wasn't us, it was the social workers, but till we got involved, it was 25 years. He basically had very little benefits. We got a call from a social worker at the Coatesville Veterinary Hospital, Veterans Hospital, veterinarian. Okay, so we got a call from there, and it was the middle of 2 huge snowstorms, February, not this past winter, the one before. And we just finished one. They said another 15, 20 inches coming in 2 days. So we get a call. The social worker couldn't use the government cars because of the snowstorm. And we had one of our volunteers in an SUV pick up the social worker, picked up Anthony and Sheba. Anthony and Sheba were living in a cardboard box, in a garage, in the freezing cold, across from a cemetery in the worst part of Chester, PA. He had no money. He would go out and beg and do a few odd jobs to get money to feed Sheba, and they huddled together. And I'll give her a plug. Dawn Timoney from Fox did the story. It's on our website, like many others. We took Sheba and Anthony to a doggy daycare, or keeps the animals for multiple days, because this happened so quick we didn't even have time to line up a foster home. And we didn't know this because we will not take aggressive dogs. It wasn't the fact that Sheba was a pit bull. We won't take any aggressive dog because we put them in actual homes, like I said, like Bonnie's and mine. So if they haven't trained their dog not to be aggressive, we say, we're sorry, we can't help you. We didn't know that Sheba was the most aggressive dog we ever had. We took her to a wonderful doggy daycare that basically works with us and does a lot of free things for us, called the Barker Lounge in Delaware County.
I love it, the Barker Lounge.
The next morning, I got 4 phone calls before 9 a.m., and I don't usually get to my office till 9 a.m. because I'm up half the night. I get 4 phone calls saying, you have to get Sheba out of here. We can't feed her. We can't walk her. We know dogs because that was what they were, an overnight and doggy daycare. They said this dog's going to attack any of us. So we had the volunteer that picked her up in the SUV in the snowstorm, and it was a snowstorm that day, go pick her up, drive Sheba to a vet office 3 minutes away. We have arrangements with almost every 24/7 vet office where they work with us. They give us huge discounts because they believe in what we're doing. This vet office is not open 24/7, but it's run by a vet named Jen Johnson. She's fantastic. Her whole staff's fantastic. Sheba went over there. The facts were Sheba had not seen a veterinarian in 5 years. She had a lump on her side this big.
Oh.
Jen and I were certain it was cancer. The dog came in, and I said, look, Jen, if it's bad cancer, we've never lost the dog, but we have no choice. You know, Anthony will be beside himself, but, you know, we're not going to torture her. Turns out it wasn't cancer. She had never been spayed. Jen spayed her, cleaned up a lot of problems, but they still couldn't get near her. 6 months later, when Anthony picked her up, you have to see the video. She's hugging and kissing everybody.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was
How
amazing.
did that happen?
Jen's people worked with her over 6 months. She stayed there for 6 months. We
6
paid,
months.
yeah.
It's like this television show that I happened to catch recently called Lucky Dog, where the guy trains dogs that are impossible,
All right.
but he gets them very young. And
Well, this dog was 12 years old.
yeah, he uses a clicker and,
Yeah, clicker
and
training.
bribes,
Yeah.
and it was very interesting,
Right.
and it worked.
Well,
But 12 years old?
If you watch the videos on the website, or if you contact me, Buzz at packforanimals.org, I could email you the video. you will see the night it was dropped at the Barker Lounge, you will see the aggressiveness, which between the snowstorm and saving the dog and saving Anthony, we were so crazy that night, we didn't really focus on the aggressiveness. But the next day we had to focus on it. You will see when Sheba was dropped at the Barker Lounge, how she was just out of control. And then 6 months later, you'll see how Anthony goes and picks her up, and he's got a place to live, and he's got his military benefits after 25 years. You will see how she's hugging and kissing everybody. I mean, it's amazing. All the stories are, you know, we have.
Well, the dog must have also been very frightened being taken away from its owner.
Well, that was the whole thing. She protected him. They were
Sure.
living in a horrible neighborhood
Yeah.
in Chester. The dog, Anthony, was her. I mean, it was her family.
Yeah.
It was her only family, and he fed her, and he protected her from the elements. They were literally living in a cardboard box. You'll see the garage. You'll see the cemetery if you watch the video. If you can't find it on our site, all you got to do is email me, Buzz at Pack. Wait a minute. Yeah, but we have the info. Buzz at packforanimals.org. Buzz at packforanimals.org. I'll send it. The videos are unbelievable. Like I said, we had Doug Schimel, Erica Von Teal, Dawn Timoney of Fox has been wonderful, Lisa Thomas Ori. We've had all the stations do work with us. But there's something else I want to talk about, getting back to CHOP. Well, this girl happens to be in St. Christopher's Children's Hospital, which is right near the SPCA. We are fostering 2 dogs for a family that was in the Poconos. They called us on the way to St. Christopher's. It was recently discovered their daughter had brain cancer, and she was going to St. Christopher's. She'd be there for, I think it was 6 or 8 months, chemotherapy, a lot of other heavy stuff, especially
How
for
old is the child?
the child's going to be 3 on July 4th. We're giving her a birthday party on July 1st. And if people could send cards, all you do is, it's on our website, it's Facebook, but here's where the birthday cards.
We might be able to put it up
yeah.
here. Where do we send the birthday cards?
The birthday cards go to Packed for Animals, P.O. Box 590, Gladwin, PA 19035. And you can see she has no hair because of the chemotherapy. But it's Packed for Animals, P.O. Box 590, Gladwin, PA 19035. And her name, I'll spell it for you, is Iliana, Iliana, Victoria, Victoria, Bishop, Bishop.
Is this on your website?
It should be
The
on our
information?
website. Yeah, and it's on our Facebook page. All you have to do is go to the PAC Facebook page. You'll see it all
Okay.
there.
Okay. Because Buzzy and Judy decided that they're going to have 300 birthday cards arrive by July 1st so they can make this a special 3rd birthday for Ileana. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, with
What a
cake
cutie
ice cream. Yeah.
patootie. What a cute little
Yeah, she's
girl.
got an unbelievable personality.
Oh.
And we fostered, because the problem is the parents and other relatives, she has 2 brothers, they stay in the Ronald McDonald House. They can't allow animals in there because of infection. The kids go back and forth. So
yes.
any Ronald McDonald House in the country, you cannot take your animals with you. And to see a young child, we did a similar thing to a 4-year-old at CHOP, and that kid went into remission. She's been out for about a year. We have the video of that story when the child picked up her dog, which weighed about 4 pounds, and a woman, 71, 72 years old, fostered that dog. And the relationships between everybody are unbelievable. I mean, we had a military guy in Charleston, South Carolina, drove his 2 dogs up here in a rainstorm, because a lot of times a relative, a brother, or a mother will say, oh yeah, I'll foster the dogs. The night before, 2 nights before, they scratch their head and go, whoa, I got to walk that dog twice a day. I have to feed that. I can't do this for a year. It's too hot. It's going to snow. It's going to rain. They call them the last minute and say, we're not doing it. They panic. Hopefully they find us. We've done them as short as, well, this one, we got her dogs in homes in a couple hours. We had somebody go up to the Poconos and pick up the pit bull. They had to leave in the home because she had to be rushed down to St. Christopher. So we had somebody do about a 5-hour drive that day, and we had a home inspected that morning for that dog. We did the whole thing, placing the animal about 6 hours. And the joy that these animals not only give the family, but these young kids, I mean, what's worse than cancer in a 2, 3, 4-year-old? I mean, really, what's much worse? And the point is, these kids know we require the foster homes, whether it's military people in Afghanistan or in this country, or we work with adults in hospitals now. A lot of people will break a hip or have a hip replacement. They can't walk the animal, even if the surgery is only a couple days. So we put them in a foster home. But the point is, every foster home is required under contract to send narratives, to send videos today, to send pictures at least once a month. So if you're in Afghanistan or you're in a hospital for an extended stay and you come, we've had military fly their animals and drive them here from California, Idaho, Arizona, Texas, Florida. So the point is that if you're 1,000 miles from home, or you're over in the Middle East where we've had plenty of soldiers go, they will get on their computers, and everybody has access to a computer today, pictures and stories, and they could see that their dog's healthy, happy, well taken care of, you know, doesn't look emaciated, is playing with other dogs or playing. Half of our animals the first night sleep in the bed in the foster home. They were used to doing it in their own home. They just say, whoa, there's a bed, that's where I go. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I got to admit, I never had the joy I get out of this practicing law for 35 years. I might have been good at it, might have made good money, but it's not the joy I get out of this. And so now we're working with all the children's hospitals, all the veterans hospitals. The military are flying and driving them here from the entire country. We've had, I think, 25 states, and as far as the West Coast, bring animals here. And we want them if they can come, because that way they meet the foster home, they bond with them, they see where their animal's going to be. There are a few other programs in the country, but nothing is 24/7 like we are. We've had a couple dogs get into poison in one house, 2 of their own, the foster dog, 3 a.m. We get a phone call, we look for the closest 24/7 vet we work with. They got them there in like 20 minutes, and the vets did their magic, and the dogs were okay in a couple days. So, I mean, what we do to make this thing work is incredible, but everybody's on. I don't take anything out of it. It's not where I'm Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg, but I made good money practicing law. Bonnie's a lot younger than me. She was a child prodigy, but,
Right.
you know, I was older, and we got one house and 2 nice cars, and this is what I and my wife want to do basically with the rest of our lives.
Tell them how many animals you have in your beautiful home.
Well, the problem is we have 3 cats, a bird. My horse got shipped to Florida because the woman who took it, and I still own it, is well taken care of. I know her since the day she was born. She's in her 40s now. Unfortunately, we have 1 dog, which was a pack dog that the woman got Alzheimer's and couldn't take the dog back. So we have the dog, but in the last 2 years, we lost 3 dogs of our own through various circumstances that happened. 2 of them were pretty old, and the other one something happened to. So as soon as my wife finishes a little construction on the house, we have a deal that I'll get 1 or maybe 2 more dogs, because it's my
wait a minute.
life.
You say you have a bird.
Yeah.
The bird is this gigantic, gorgeous parrot that lives in a cage that's probably as big as a studio.
Well, also, the bird talks. And
Yes.
if Bonnie's there, it's shy in the beginning, but if Bonnie would come there once a month for a couple months, the bird would say, "Hello, Bonnie," and it would sound just like Bonnie. And I can call Judy from my office downstairs on the intercom in the kitchen, because she loves to cook, and the bird will answer, and it'll say, "Yes, Buzz, what do you want?" And I can't tell if it's Judy or the bird. I mean, the voice... She thinks the bird's a genius. I'm not, because the first time she feeds him nuts from her mouth to his mouth. I won't do it, because I got that close when we first got him, and he split my whole lip open. So I said, he loves you. He's jealous of me. The bird's yours. So, you know, it's another one of her children.
That's funny.
But we still have 3 cats. We had 3 other ones that went to heaven, 4 years ago total. So we've replaced them with 3 more. We'll replace the dogs. I mean, I miss and I love the ones that went, but thank God there's more that need rescue. So that's what we do. But I really want to make this kid happy. I mean, what can be worse than a 3-year-old? In fact, she was supposed to leave the hospital permanently several months ago. And what happened was they decided that she needed a lot more treatment, so she goes back from the Poconos with her parents, stays in the Ronald McDonald House about 4 days every 3 weeks. She comes in, let's say on a Monday, she'll get chemotherapy Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm no expert in the time it takes and so on. And then she'll go back home Thursday. But it's like 4 days, and this is going to go on till at least December. So, I mean, I want to make this kid happy. It's a surprise birthday party. All I want the public to do is send cards to Pact for Animals, P-A-C-T in capital letters, P.O. Box 590, Gladwin, PA 19035, and I'll spell her first name because it's a little unusual. It's Iliana. Victoria is her middle name, Vicgoria, and Bishop's her last name, Bishop. And
When did you launch this campaign to get the 300 birthday cards?
around last Monday or Tuesday, and in 4 days we're up to like 70 cards already.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we sent it to everybody that's on the Pact mailing list, everybody that's on the store mailing list, but I'm networked with animal lovers throughout the country. I mean, hundreds of them. So I sent it to animal people I know in Texas, California, Seattle, Florida, and they might not be able to work with us. Well, we have foster homes now throughout the country. That's too long. Bonnie will have to get me back again to tell the story of the foster homes throughout the country and where we're heading with all this. But the point is, doesn't matter where you're living, even in the world, you could be in Italy, Africa, to just send a birthday card. And it's not where we want to do it over the internet. It's nice, but we want a 3-year-old to feel the cards, to see the little dog or the cat or the elephant. Some people are sending presents. You know,
Where are you having the party?
the party's going to be in the Ronald McDonald House. I don't have the exact
What,
address.
on Penn's-
It's the one. No, it's the one right across from St. Christopher's, because that's where she's being treated. St. Christopher's Children's Hospital, which is right near the Pennsylvania SPCA and right
Okay,
near
so
ACT.
that's North Philly.
Yeah, North Philly. All you have
That's
to
not the
do
one
is
in West
yeah,
Philly,
but see,
okay.
the reason we had them sent to us is this way we'll accumulate them, bring them down in a box or a couple boxes, and her mother knows about it, but she doesn't know. And she's I've got videos of her singing and dancing. She's a very animated. I can't believe it. I got videos of her with the shaved head, with all kinds of tubes in her, and she's walking around like this, singing, dancing. I mean, and this kid isn't even 3 years old.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's amazing how we've dealt with a lot of kids with cancer in the Delaware Valley with the PAC program. And she's among the most animated, never complaining one. She's always smiling. You know, it's just an amazing thing. So
What a delicious
yeah,
face she
and
has.
we wanna make this little girl happy. Who knows what the future will be? I mean, the prognosis looks good, but you don't get much more of a serious illness for a kid or even an adult.
That's true. Well, Ileana, we're hoping that we'll have a lot of people that will be mailing birthday cards to you. And they send it to Pact for Animals, Post Office Box 590, Gladwin, PA 19035. And Buzzy, did you get your Boy Scout badge for good deeds yet? You should.
Well, we had a couple Girl Scout troops do projects for us last year.
Oh, okay.
But the other thing I want to say is, please, I don't take anything. Our people are underpaid, overworked. They love what we do. We're making a difference in the world. We need more foster homes in the Delaware Valley because we have a whole infrastructure, veterinarians, trainers, food suppliers, doggy daycares that work with us. So we need more homes. All you have to do is go to the website, fill out a form. The website was up there before, www.pactforanimals.org. And if you want more on the Ileana story, just email me, Buzz, B-U-Z-Z, at Pact, P-A-C-T, for F-O-R, animals, ANIMALS.org, or our phone number. We have a lot of people working there during the day now, 610-581-4141.
610-581-4141. Our guest today has been Buzz Miller, and he does so much good work we hope that you get an overwhelming response to your call for Ileana's birthday cards. And we'll see everybody next week.
Thank you, Bonnie, for helping spread the word for something my heart and soul's into.